talk about using proportions to solve for word problems with percents. Now, some key reminders here is your part is described by the percent, and your whole is your total, and part can be greater than the whole. In other words, your percent is going to be greater than 100. Now remember, another way to make sure you're doing this correctly is if your part is greater than your whole, your percentage is going to be larger than 100, and if your part is smaller than your whole, your percent is going to be less than 100. So, once again, we want to read each problem carefully and then set up our proportion to solve. So, on her quiz, Mary got 17 out of 20 correct. What percent did she get correct? Well, we know there was a total of 20 questions. In other words, our whole was 20 and our part was 17. We're asked to find the percentage, which is unknown, so our variable x, and percent is always over 100. Now that we have a proportion set up, we can go ahead, cross multiply, and solve. So we have 20x is equal to 1700. Solving for x, we get 85. Remember, you have to label our answer. So we have 85%. Now our follow-up question here asks, what percent did she get incorrect? Well, we know it's possible of 100%. She got 85 correct, so that's left with 15. So 15% incorrect. Now looking at example 2, Sue got 90% of the questions correct on her test. If there were 40 questions, how many did she get correct? Well, we know that there are 40 questions. That is our whole or our total. We're trying to determine the part, or how many she answered correctly, which is our variable x, and we know we always write our percentage 90 over 100. Now here, once again, solving our proportion, we have 100 times x is equal to 3,600. Now, when you divide both sides by 100 and solve, you get x is equal to 36. Now 36 here represents the number of questions answered correctly. Remember to always label our answer. Now, the follow-up question here asks, how many problems did she get wrong? Well, if there are a total of 40 questions and Sue answered 36 correctly, we know she answered 4 wrong. So 4 questions were wrong. All right, let's look at example 3. Renee read 120 pages of her book. This is 40% of the book. How many pages are in the book? Well, we're trying to figure out our total, or in other words, the whole here. So that's what our variable is going to be. X is going to be in the place for whole. We know that the part is 120. That's what she's read so far. Setting up our proportion, we know 40 will be over 100. Percent's always over 100. Now solving this proportion, you get 40x is equal to 12,000. Okay? Solving for x, you get x is equal to 300. So here, our 300 represents the total number of pages in the book. So 300 pages are in the book. So our follow-up question here asks, how many pages does she still need to read? Okay, well, we know we have 300 total pages in the book. Renee read 120, so that means she's left with 180 pages. So she has 180 pages left to read. Okay? Now, looking at example 4. During practice, John attempted 30 free throw shots and made 21. What percent of free throw shots did he make? So here it's asking us to find the percent. So we don't know what our percent is, so we have x over 100. And he attempted 30 free throw shots. So that is our whole, and we know our part is 21. So here, using a proportion to solve, we have 30x is equal to 2100. So x is equal to 70. And since we were asked for a percentage, our answer would be 70%. Now, the next question asks, if he continues with the same percentage accuracy, how many will he make if he attempts 50 free throw shots? Now here we're going to need another proportion to solve this. So we know that we're trying to figure out how many out of 50 he will make, and we know his percentage rate is 70. So 70 over 100. So when we set up this proportion, now we can solve. So we'll get 100x is equal to 3,500. So x is equal to 35. So he will make 35 free throws. After going over this video and you understand all 4 examples, please continue to the back.